Well, good day everybody, this is Chris with A Mind Divided, and I hope this video finds you all doing well. So today what I'd like to do is a retrospective review of a bike that I've had for a few years, almost since when I started mountain biking seriously. This is a 2015 Kona Process 111. This is a short travel 29er with an aluminum frame and enduro geometry. So I bought this bike used. It was actually from a guy who had it about a year. Apparently he is a racer and had some connections and was able to get a hold of this in 2014, even though it was a 2015 model. And I bought it from him in 2016. So I was just a little into learning how to mountain bike, about a year or so into it. And so I've had this bike for about 2 years now, and I bought it for about $1,600. And the only major thing that had been done was there was a problem with the rear shock, and the original shock was a Monarch, a RockShox Monarch, I believe the RL. So it was rebound and had a lockout compression option. So it was basically open and lockout. This there was an issue with the shock where the lockout would not work, and RockShox decided to honor the warranty. They replaced this free of charge with a Monarch Debonair RT3. So it has three types of compression settings. It's got an open, a kind of a pro pedal / trail setting, and then a lockout setting in addition to rebound. And so that's what I got for $1,600, and I haven't ridden this for about 9 months, and was actually thinking about giving it up, and I just really had a lot of nostalgia, and so I spent a few $100s. Rather than looking at a new bike. My local bike shop convinced me, hey, look, this is a solid frame. Let's spend some money, get it upgraded, and see how it rides. And so that's exactly what I did. So the major upgrades that I went with. So simple upgrade, first of all. I love these wolf tooth fat paw grips, so I put a pair of fat top paw grips on there. Ended up changing out the brake hose for the front brake. These are actually the original brakes, the SLXs, and they're pretty solid brakes, actually. Pretty good stopping power, pretty reliable, and I really like Shimano brakes in general. Let's see here. I went ahead and did an overhaul on the front fork. This is the stock fork that came with. This is a Pike. It's got the it's an air sprung fork. I believe it's got 35 mil stanchions, 120 millimeters of travel, 180 millimeter rotor, rocking 29er wheels. These are the original rims. These are WTB I-29s. I do have new hubs. I went ahead and put on. See if you can see there, SLX, Shimano SLX hubs, front and rear, and replaced some spokes, but these are the original I-29 wheels, rims, so they're fairly wide, and to my surprise and pleasure, we're actually able to comfortably fit a 2.6, a 29 by 2.6 up front, and as you can see, there's plenty of room for clearance. And this is the Bontrager XR4 Team Issue 29 by 2.6. So these are the newer. This is the newer, more aggressive tread pattern. It's a lovely front tire so far. With the rear, unfortunately, this is non-boost, and in fact, the Kona processes are only just now being made with boost spacing. So this is a 142 spacing, so we had some clearance issues. We're not able to clear a 2.6 tire, so right now I'm running a Maxxis High Roller 2.3, and it's a pretty aggressive pattern, and so it provides pretty decent traction, so I really enjoy having that. And I'm just running the WTB I-23 rim on the back, 23 millimeter diameter, internal diameter. I don't need as wide on the back because I'm not really running a real wide tire. the original dropper was a KS Lev Integra, as a 150 millimeter dropper. The internals just completely blew out of it. That's part of the reason why I wasn't riding this. So I went ahead and went with the Bontrager. It's one of the Bontrager, one of their in-house manufactured droppers. And it's 125 mil, so I lost about 25 millimeters of travel, but I'm kind of using this as more of a cross-country bike, so that's perfectly okay. I love the travel, and actually for the price, I think it was about $150, so fairly inexpensive. I think it's a Trans X, I believe is what it is, a Bontrager Trans X. And it's a cable actuated. It's got kind of a southpaw lever. The lever's a little slick. It's not. It doesn't have the grip and the traction, so to speak, like the reverb that I'm running on my Bronson. But I mean, for what it is, it's really good, really reliable. And let me just put the seat down here, and you'll see. It works very good. It's very snappy. So I'm actually really happy with it. And then I also did an overhaul on the rear shock as well. Just replaced all the seals, put some new flats. I love the race face Chesters. Put an XT 11-speed cassette and a new driver on the rear. This is what is this? Is it a 10? 10 or 11 to 46. It's just a standard 11-speed XT rear cassette that I'm running on this as well. So those are the major significant upgrades that I've put into this bike. And this is actually my second ride. I rode it yesterday, did about a 22-mile ride, and I'm doing another 20-plus mile ride consisting of single track and double track of anywhere from moderately technical to bordering on pretty technical or kind of rocky stuff. About 2,000 feet of climbing both rides, and thus far I'm really enjoying it. I actually really miss having a kind of a short travel 29er. They're kind of poppy and maneuverable, and it's really progressive because you only have 111 millimeters of rear travel and 120 millimeters of front travel. So it's not like the Bronson. It's 150 millimeter super slack shredding machine, and it just doesn't care when you get into rough stuff. Just rolls right over it. This, you have to be a little more. You have to appreciate your lines a bit more. You have to be a little more cautious, and it's really progressive. So the suspension tightens up when you get down into it, and so it just has a completely different feel, even though the geometry is fairly similar. It's fairly slack head tube, long like 800 millimeter handlebar, 40 millimeter stem. Real steep seat tube angle for climbing, so it has real similar geometry to the Bronson, but it just fundamentally feels different. First of all, it's a 29er, so it's really got some get up and go. When you put down on it, you really feel it accelerate. At least it feels its apparent acceleration it feels a little poppier. It's just a little more nervous, a little twitchier, and maybe not quite as stiff as the Bronson in some of the areas, so it's got a little bit of flex, but it's what, 4 years old now, and it doesn't have boost, so what do you expect? But I have to say, for a retrospective review, and for a bike that I bought used, boy, I'm really loving it. And in fact, this is going to be the bike I believe I'm going to be using on a bike packing trip this summer. This bike is a couple pounds lighter than the Bronson. I mean, even this still isn't the lightest bike in the world. This is about 29 pounds. The Bronson's a couple pounds heavier than that. But I'm just I've actually bike packed with this before. A couple of years ago, I did a couple of bike packing trips with this, so I'm pretty comfortable with it. I can just throw a regular seat post on, throw my bag. I already have a frame bag for it, and throw a bag up front, and I'll be doing a week in the Front Range of Colorado here in about a month and a half. with a group of people. Boy, that should be a hell of a lot of fun. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I can't really give like a full review because this is I bought it used. So it'd be real hard for me to compare it to say like my Bronson brand new. But I'll tell you what, I do think that I definitely, the $1,600 that I paid for it was well spent. I'm glad I still have it. It's been a great bike. It's a hell of a lot of fun. It's pretty capable. It's, obviously it's not, you can really ride it rough, but you just have to be a little more discerning when it comes to line selection, versus the big hitting, longer travel enduro bikes. But I really like it, and I love having something to contrast a long travel 27.5 enduro bike with kind of a short travel 29er with enduro geometry. So there you have it. I'm loving it, and I'm sure glad they convinced me to keep the bike around and just upgrade it and inject some new life into it. Alrighty guys, I've got to hit the trail. I've got some mountains to ride through. I'm up here in the beautiful North Doñanas doing the circumnavigator loop, so about halfway around, so I've got a lot more riding ahead of me. All right, y'all, take care and have fun doing whatever you may do, and we'll see you in the next video.